to to give an opportunity for ordinary Ukrainians just to talk about their experience and opportunity to people from all around the world just to ask questions and to have this human touch, because for many people Ukrainians are just people from the news reports and it's something abstract, but we are pretty
Human
real.
touch, because for many people, Ukrainians
Oh,
are.
I'm so sorry. But we are pretty real, and we'll be really glad to hear some of your questions. And so please don't be shy to text your questions on YouTube or on Twitter. We will monitoring all of that and we'll respond. And also I posted a link to our YouTube stream on our Facebook. And now I'm glad to introduce my second guest. So my second guest is Nadia, and I would love to mention that if we translate from Ukrainian to English, Nadia in Ukrainian means hope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so let's hope that we win this war as quickly as possible and we help our soldiers and our people as much as we can.
Yeah, and I know Nadia for how long? Like
For over 10 years now.
yeah,
Yeah, we met in 2011. Yeah, at the university, and like we have been friends since then. So yeah,
yeah,
it's quite a lot of
yeah.
years of friendship.
We did together our bachelor program, our master
Master, yeah.
program, and our master program was really cool because it was like everyone was really nice friends with everyone, and each time we were having exams we were baking a cake. So like we had 17 master students, they all were female, and everyone were baking a cake.
Yeah,
And we were
bringing some wine to like our university, and we always drank with our professors. So like after the exams, of course, and like it was the best time ever.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember if we had to write a paper test, not an oral exam, but
Yeah,
test on a long paper, before where we were about to start this test, we always ordered pizza.
yeah,
So each time we were just hanging out our task to our professor. Pizza guy came with pizza, and our professors was a little bit shocked, like what's going on? Why is this group is always eating and Maria is always collecting some money? Because usually I were paying for pizza from my card and other students will just gave me a few dollars for that.
I think it was a good preparation for this war. Like you learned to fundraise even before the war. Like you used to fundraise for like wine for
For
our
pizza.
pizza. Yeah, like for gifts for like in our group to
Oh,
each other, and yeah, it was quite a usual like a usual thing to have.
yeah. So it was really amazing times when we were students, and I would like just tell a few words about Nadia, about my friend. So first of all, she's always very calm and always focused. I remember with everyone are just hanging out, talking a lot. Nadia used to be very concentrated, focused on doing something. She is native speaker of Ukrainian and Catalonian,
And Spanish. Yeah.
and she is an owner of Birded Dragon.
Yeah. So I do have a lizard. She's called like blinchik. That means pancake in English. So yeah, I'm an owner of a nice pancake. Like
And also, I remember that you learned some Nordic language.
yeah, I've been learning Finnish. So yeah, it was quite difficult, but I just really love this language.
And
So
Nadia is working in IT. So today we will also talk, gosh, how to work full time in IT during the war and the different stuff, how that changed her company, and so on and so on. So it's another fact I want to mention about you. Okay, I think
yeah,
that's it. We'll figure out
yeah.
everything. So the first question I'm asking people who are joining our Twitter and YouTube live is how you figure out that the war started in Ukraine.
So it was quite I was quite fortunate to have like to meet this war while I was in Barcelona. So I arrived to Barcelona a few days before the war started. Like I didn't even know. Like I went to like for some business stuff to there, and I wake up on this 24th of February, and I just go to check my phone. So I like deplug the screen and see a few missed calls from my father, a few missed calls from a few of my friends, and a text message from my boyfriend, and he was like, "Good morning, Vietnam," and I was like, "Okay, like what's happening?" And then I go to see to check the news, and that's when I realized like, oh my god, like this is like very big. Like it, I didn't expect the war to start all over Ukraine. Like first I thought like it would start just on the east of the country, but when I see that like the cities near me, like in the western Ukraine, have been bombarded, I was like, oh my god, like I just hate it. And that's how I figured it out. And since then I haven't slept for like 3 days and nights because I was constantly in such a stress for like for my family that were staying in the western Ukraine, like for my friends and family in Kiev, like in all the parts of Ukraine. So it was quite intense and shocking, of course.
Yeah, and I remember that in the first day of the war, approximately at noon, maybe at 12 a.m., I added you to Telegram
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. I messaged Maria to ask her how is she, like how she's going, and she's like, okay, so maybe I will add you to our chat, like our family or group chat, so that I don't have to copy all the same messages to like 20 people, and yeah, that's how we started like our epic chat with
And
friends.
epic history. Yeah, like uh we were when I just mentioned that I and a lot of my close friends we were studying together at master program. So and all my female friends from my master program, they are all around the world. Someone is working, someone just was on vacation, someone was studying somewhere, and just in the first day everyone would get on touch with everyone and we
Um,
stayed together, like we were chatting every day, supporting every day. And I remember that on the first day people, all my friends all around the world, started organizing humanitarian help, humanitarian
um,
aid, and a lot of stuff like that. And I clearly remember that it was the second day of the war, and Yarina, my friend who is
mhm.
physicist and she's working with colliders and she's working in Germany, she was supposed to go to the work, and I was like, gosh, that sucks. It's war in your country, and I'm thinking like, at least here being in Ukraine I don't have to go to the work, like because I don't have a
Yeah,
work anymore. And as you were working abroad, so you were like theoretically able to go to the work, but I haven't been working for a month because my university suspended
yeah,
lectures, my translating agency just started volunteeringly doing
yeah.
translations, but you had to go to the work, and that was just how did it look? How did it felt? And for me, that seems terrible.
Yeah, so I was quite fortunate to have like a remote job. Like since the COVID times, we have been working remotely. So theoretically, I was able to do all the work tasks from Barcelona. But of course, like the whole company is like it didn't stop completely. Like I know that we were still like attending our clients, like doing our work. But to be honest, for the first maybe
Oh,
3 weeks,
I just realized that all the time I didn't turn on my microphone.
but
Oh.
we have been hearing ourselves in the live in YouTube.
But in YouTube, guys,
Yeah,
first of all, let me excuse to our YouTube listeners, and let me thanks to all our Twitter listeners who are staying with us while we are talking with muted mic. Ta-da! Just okay,
like
okay.
the work-life balance is so hard to have.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's nice disclaimer to our show. There is no work-life balance. It just
it just goes as it goes.
yeah, so hi everyone one more time. Thank you for your patience. It's War Life Balance as Twitter space when ordinary Ukrainians can share their experience and people all around the world just can ask their questions, because for many people all around the world. Ukrainians are just people from news, and they seems to be more abstract. It's absolutely, it might be unclear how they are managing
To
to
work, yeah, to function, like to still with their normal life in these
yeah.
crazy conditions.
So my name is Maria, and that's my friend Nadia, and her name is translated from Ukrainian to English as hope.
Yeah, so let's hope that we will this war as quick as possible. So
And
yeah,
I'm glad to have Nadia today because it's first time we met each other since this war.
yeah, like it's been 4 months already since we saw each other last time. So
So
yeah,
I
it's
will
so
quickly
crazy.
introduce Nadia and tell how we met each other and tell our story. And before that, I will make sure one more time our mic is working. So because I was sure I turned it on. Like it's like I'm not stupid not to turn on my mic before the live stream,
Yeah,
but I just did it.
it's okay. Like, I think that people will comprehend, and like it's excusable in such hard times when we already had like 2 sirens already today.
Three.
3, yeah. Oh,
So yeah.
that's not that nice.
Yeah, like every minute Russians are launching missiles, but we're keep staying.
Yeah.
So just I will just quickly remind that you can send me your questions. Mm, I'm not sure that I know how to read them here in Twitter, but I will figure it out. Just how I figured out that I didn't turn on the microphone on the beginning of the stream. So it will be a pleasure to have your questions or comments or something like that. And today is Nadia with me. So we met each other in university because we did together our bachelor program. We studied philology,
Yeah.
and we did together our master program. We were studying literature, and we had pretty cool master program because all our master student was female and we were close friends. And I remember that each time before the exam we will also baking cake, so imagine 17 cakes, and we
Yeah.
were taking it with us in university, and after exam we were eating them. Or when we were having to write a paper test, before the paper test we used to order pizza, and just in the end of the lecture, when we were passing our test, the pizza guy used to come, and our professors was a little bit shocked, like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with this group? They are all the time eating and collecting some money to pay for their pizza, for their food, for their flowers." So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why our professors loved us so much, like because we were always partying, like just studying and partying, and like yeah, I think that was an ideal group.
And we were sharing food.
Yeah, of course. Like after each exam, our professors joined us like to eat pizza or maybe even drink wine. But of course, after the exams, like don't get us wrong.
Yeah, so and our group was very responsible. We were always doing homework and we were
Yeah,
smart, we were reading,
yeah,
and so we were smart, relaxed, and always we
and
always
pretty.
had and we always had food.
Yeah, and wine
So
or even like something more like tastier and
yeah.
more alcoholic than
Yeah,
wine.
so that was a great time. And a few facts about Nadia. Nadia is not only a native speaker of Ukrainian language, she's also a native speaker of Spanish and Catalonian, and also she studied Finnish,
Yeah,
Finnish language.
yeah, I've been studying Finnish and I've been to Finland, so yes, like sending so much love to Finland for their like help and just for being who they are. I don't know.
Also, Nadia is a bird dragon owner.
Yeah, so I have a bearded dragon. She's called Blinchik, that means pancake in English. So, yay for the pretty lizard that has survived already a few evacuational trips. Like, I have a lizard who has been through a war, and like, I think this is so epic.
Oh my
Let's be
gosh,
honest, yeah.
it was hard to just find food on
Yeah,
just basic
like
medical stuff for people. What about lizards?
yeah, it was pretty crazy because like our lizard got sick during the first months of the war, and so then my boyfriend had to return from a safer space to a more dangerous Kiev. And thanks God we have a friend who's a vet, and she managed to help us to like to cure the lizard, but it was pretty crazy because in the pharmacies, like it was so hard to find like the most basic medicine, like yeah, like
Even food.
yeah, like even baby food for the like the lizards can also have like baby food like for humans, but it was sometimes difficult to find like basic baby food. I just don't know how people with small children have survived for this war.
Yeah, exactly. You just mentioned that sometimes that doctors were working, and
Yeah,
I always feel so lucky that I am able to work online,
yeah,
and it seems so cool. But oh my gosh, so many people just can't work online, and I just want to thanks all doctors or all people who work in utility services, postmen, postwomen, firefighters, because they are risking their life
yeah.
just performing their daily tasks. So
Yeah, like
just
just to supply people with food, like this is like really heroical things, like to bake bread, like to transport foods from like the border to the cities. Like it is such a mundane heroism, I think.
yeah, I just admire people who are
Yeah,
fixing
yeah,
internet.
yeah. Like before, we used to admire like I don't know Elon Musk, Marilyn Monroe, like something big, and now we are just admiring like the cashiers at the supermarkets. Like oh my god, like they went to work, so we could have the possibility to buy the food. Like oh my god, like under all the bombings and shellings, like this is really like they are just the heroes of this planet. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. I'm so grateful for people who are fixing internet all over
Yeah,
the Ukraine, because I remember our first or second day of the war, and in the first day of the war I made a chat with my friends, and
hmm,
Nadia also was in that chat, and we were discussing that internet might disappear and maybe
yeah,
we will be disconnected, and it was nightmare. And I also remember that we were chatting with each other and discussing that maybe the internet will disappear, and we may hear a lot of disinformation that our government is just agreeing to surrender to Russia, and we
hmm,
just should welcome Russian soldiers, and that it might happen, but we should not believe. We should protect our families and protect our sovereignty. And the internet never disappeared. And I remember I
yeah.
read an article on BBC that actually Ukraine were preparing for that
Yeah,
modern. You know about
yeah,
that?
yeah. Like the Ukrainian providers have been buying beforehand, like so many like technical supplies and all the like materials. So in case of a war or some sort of shortages or bombings or like damaged infrastructure, they could repair everything like in a matter of an hour. And like this really worked. Like I'm so grateful to our providers that they came so prepared and that we didn't have any shortage of internet like in the most part of the country. Like for
Exactly.
sure, yeah,
That's amazing, especially when you would like to just check your relatives who are
yeah,
living under occupation.
yeah, yeah. That's the worst. But like those who live under occupation, like her son, like they often do not have the internet or don't have it at all. But like this is what happens when you live under like Russian occupation. Like on the rest of Ukraine, like we have food, we have internet, like we have everything, our basic needs, and like not only basic. So like this is another part of Ukrainian heroism that we managed to provide to our people, like everything, like all the basic needs, and to keep people communicated and with the
Yeah.
internet.
One, my relative is living under Russian occupation, and it's a challenge to communicate with him. He's like
Where is he living?
Melitopol.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Melitopol now is under occupation. So basically, there is no internet there because Russians just blocking Ukrainian providers. Nevertheless, he is leaving Melitopol and going to the small village, because there in one place, in one spot, there is place when you can reach Ukrainian internet, and we're able just to check him, is he okay. And the last message he sent, he wrote that everything was okay, and he said that he feels like he back in the USSR, because
Uh-huh.
21st century, and on streets are playing old Soviet songs that Lenin is very
Oh my
young
god.
and still alive, and that seemed surreal for him. So we just discussed that it's challenging and it absolutely not balanced to work in Ukraine during the war. And actually, uh, war for me started in Kiev, but you were forced to go to the business trip right before the war, and you were abroad. But how did you figure out that war started, and how did it felt?
Yeah, so I arrived to Barcelona a few days before the war. Like I was just meant to go there for a week and then return. But on the first day of my stay there, the war started, and like I just woke up, went to check my phone, and I see a few missed calls from my father, from my friends, and a text message from my boyfriend, and he was like, "Good morning, Vietnam," and I was okay, like what's that? I went to check the news, and I saw like this is really bad. Like this is the crazy thing because at first I expected the war to begin like on the east of the country, but then when I saw that a few cities like 20, like 40 kilometers from my home village were bombarded, I was like this is the worst. Like I went to like I immediately called my relatives like in the west of Ukraine in Kyiv, and like many of them have been trying to like flee Kyiv already because it was heavily bombarded. So like it was pretty intense, like to know that your relatives are in danger and they were like not starting their normal morning with drinking coffee, but like trying to escape a war-torn country, a war-torn city. Like I have some friends who have been trying to leave Kiev for 6 hours. Like they were on like on the roads with in their cars, and like it was so much traffic in Kiev. It was like almost impossible to flee Kiev quickly. So they have been like stuck in traffic for 6 hours without nowhere to go because everyone was in the same situation, like in this traffic, and they have been seeing all the bombs flying over them and all the missiles and like shootings, and like you're just blocked. If something happens, you are not even able like to escape with your car or
Yeah.
to run like.
And I know that your family hosted a lot of people.
Yeah, like we have been hosting people like in Western Ukraine in our home, and my like in a few houses we own, and in Spain also we have been hosting a few families, like of people we know. So yeah, it was quite an experience, and like really so nice to know that you have your friends or relatives like they are safe. You're keeping them safe, and you're helping them like just to survive or like have some proper conditions and not that they sleep like in a field. I don't know.
Just on the car,
Yeah,
and it's really
yeah.
dangerous to stay on the car because like a routine thing that I used to do while hiding in a bomb shelter.
Mhm.
You know, it was cold, and indeed,
Yeah.
first days, it was really hard to focus and to work or to translate. So I downloaded a book. It was like a guide what to do if war actions are happening in your city, and it was made by U.S. general.
Mhm.
And I were reading where what is the if there is bombardment on the street and you are on the street, so well, what is the best place to hide? So car is a bad place, this guide said.
Oh.
So you should hide in something which is made from a concrete.
Mhm.
And it's very important to make sure that you cannot be seen from the air, because sometimes you might be bombarded from the helicopter, or if
Mhm.
your enemy will spot you. So it's nice to move somewhere under the trees or in the places.
Mhm.
So if you are on the street, it's nice to try to sneak into the safest place, but you might be seen on the street, and the car or something like a small coffee shop, it's bad place
Yeah.
to hide. So it
Yeah.
was my routine to read about.
It is actually so crazy and so sad that you had to learn like such unusual things for people in 21st century, like how to hide from shooting. Like this is, oh my god, this is the sad thing, and like so unexpected to like to learn in the 21st century when you have all the commodities like I don't know, internet, TikTok, all the shops, like the opportunities to fly to whatever point of the planet you want, and then all of a sudden you are forced to learn like how to tape your windows so you're not killed by the glass in your home, or like how to hide outside so you're not gonna killed.
Yeah, basically, it's the danger is not only bombardments or street fights. even you may die from the shock wave,
Yeah.
because when your glass or your window will be just blow out by the wave, you can be hurt and lost a lot of blood. So just so many
Yeah.
safety measures. First we learn a lot of rules to make us safe during the COVID pandemic, but here it's also COVID pandemic and the war, so a lot of safety rules. And also it's there is a lot of different types of the missiles, and they also work in a different way, and it's
Yeah.
depending of the missile there is different strategies to hide. That was also written in that guide. And I remember that new channel, it's channel in Ukraine, they made also a guide, so it's basically also audios
Uh-huh.
of how different weapon sounds like,
Oh my god.
and it's made to help you to distinguish
Mhm.
different weapon by the sound, and also the best strategy to hide from exact type of the weapon.
Oh my god, okay, I'm gonna Google this. Like, for me, it was the craziest thing I've experienced in this war. Like, I haven't been like in Kiev for the first months for sure. So I was safe, but many of my friends and my colleagues and relatives have learned just in 1 week the different sounds of different missiles and like types of bombs and our air defense system. Like, because their lives depended on like they should decide whether they hear like artillery shooting, so they just must hide and close all the doors and like not watch like frantic, or when they heard our air defense systems they could relax because they knew like they are safe, like they can survive. So it is so like the crazy thing I think in over
And a
time.
lot of your colleagues, they are from Kharkiv, right?
Yeah, I do have a few colleagues from Kharkiv, so they have been like really badly bombarded for the first months. Like they couldn't even get out of the homes of the bomb shelters, and there's been actually quite I don't know, I can name it a funny story or not, but uh, in Kharkiv, I think most of the population is Russian speaking, but those colleagues like from Kharkiv and from Odessa, that is like also considered a Russian speaking city, so they all just stopped speaking Russian all of a sudden, like on the second, third day of the war, and since then they have never spoken Russian. They have been speaking only in Ukrainian because they wanted to dissociate so badly from everything that's Russian, like from even from the language, like from anything that's Russian. So they just all of a sudden started to like speak Ukrainian and tried like to forget everything that they know about Russia, like to delete or unsubscribe from any Russian speaking content. Like it was actually so crazy to see people like trying to change a part, at least a part of their identity. So
Yeah, or
yeah,
just we used to think that it doesn't matter, the
yeah,
language
yeah.
doesn't matter, and we're just okay to speak different languages. And oh my gosh, like people in in different countries, people speak in different countries, but it's like
Like yeah,
they're
like
not
even in
attacked.
Spain, like there's no problem with like Spanish or Catalan, like
Or
in the most
English.
cases they
Yeah,
like
people all around the world speaking English, but Americans or British,
yeah,
they're not just attacking the
yeah,
whole
they're not
country
trying to save us as Russians. So
as
like
English speakers.
yeah,
Well, good. That's good that someone don't want to save us as an English speaker. Oh, we're we're
yeah,
still being saved as a Russian. I wasn't a Russian speaker, so we're not Russian
me
speakers
neither.
here.
Yeah, so
Okay, that's the whole story. And I remember first days of the war as I was in Ukraine. Our friend Yarina, she is a physicist and she's working with colliders, and she's working in Germany, and she had to go to the work. And also you had to go to the work because you were able to
yeah,
work remotely.
yeah,
You considered to be safe physically, despite that it's huge emotional strange thing to work in such conditions. And I remember that I texted, that's great that at least I don't have to go to the war, because our university suspended lectures, and our translating agency just started providing pro bono services to help us with translation. But still, like from 5 hours work, like from 10 till 6 p.m., such terms that just didn't exist for me. I didn't have to go to the, but you had, and you are working in IT. So,
Yeah.
how did it feel to go to the work in such circumstances, and how the war changed your company?
Yeah, so I work as an SEO manager, like a search engine optimization, and thankfully, like I've managed like to organize the process in such a way that, to be honest, in the first week I didn't work at all. Like no one in my department worked because everyone was who was in Ukraine was trying to like find a shelter, like to displace to a like safer space, like or just to volunteer. So on the first week we just didn't work like at all. Like it was impossible because you were constantly checking the news, constantly checking your friends, your relatives, whether they are safe or whether you can help them in some way. And then after a few weeks, like we finally started like to trying to concentrate, and it was like pretty hard, but our management took it like really handled it really wisely. So like I know that our clients were still like being attended, like everything worked so well. So like I think that by organizing all the process beforehand so well, we like managed to get a revenue, to manage to still working. But like for me and my department, of course, it was so hard to get used to the work again, like trying to disconnect more from the news and to connect more like to the actual tasks, to actual work, and think like of nothing war related. Like this was the biggest challenge, like to disconnect a bit from the war and to concentrate on like doing the something that is not war related.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And how fast your company was able to adapt to everything, because I definitely understand that it felt really unimportant to keep doing your daily routine, daily business, because uh, I don't have to explain why, everyone understand. But still, it's important to support the economy,
yeah,
and having money means that we can buy more aid, more humanitarian aid, more medicines. We can pay different payments. So how fast you were able to adapt to
like
everything?
actually after the first months, we like already started working full time. And like our biggest motivation to begin working again like really efficiently was like exactly as you said, this thought of like we need to keep going the economy, like we need to come back to work and to work efficiently and to make more money to be able to support our army, our families, like ourselves, to be able to donate more and more and like support just the whole country, so the economy of the country doesn't stop, like to be able to buy not only the necessary like the most necessary sorry things, but also like to buy body armor for the soldiers, like or even to buy like something completely like um, unnecessary stuff, like I don't know, maybe cosmetics or some like clothes. But knowing that when you buy those unnecessary things, like part of the taxes go like actually to the army, to the country, and like people get paid for like doing this job. It was like the idea that really supported our work and motivated us to like work efficiently, work hard, so we keep like all our economy going and not stopping. So like
But
yeah.
I just can imagine how much work should have been done, because you also told me that during the first day of the war your
Mhm.
company stopped
Of course.
providing services for Russia and working with Russians.
Yeah, so we basically have been canceling little by little all the contracts with the Russian companies, like not only because we were like ideologically trying to disconnect from them, but also because of the sanctions. Like they wouldn't be able to pay anyway in a few months. So like we, and it's not like the biggest part of our income, like the Russia. So it wasn't hard for us. Like we just did what we consider like the right thing to do.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's war, it's always very connected to money and
yeah.
economy. And of course, if you're paying salaries and providing services, that means so
Yeah.
the part of this money will be used to buy more weapons that will keep killing Ukrainians, and that just felt terrible. And I know that your company from the first months of the war started helping different
Yeah.
organizations.
Yeah. So first, we have been like buying like some basic body armor or some like drones, like to people who we knew they needed it, but after like a few weeks, we just saw like this is the most inhumane and craziest war. So our company decided to donate 1 million euros to the army and like asked us to find like organization or maybe like volunteers or like uh, military units who needed like specific stuff and like to email to our CEO, and so they could help us like to buy like the necessary stuff. And yeah, personally, like I proposed a few initiatives from my friends I know, and to be like the company accepted to buy a whole ambulance full of like medical stuff. So yeah, actually me and a few of my friends, we managed to buy a whole ambulance from Germany and to deliver it safely, and like to buy some medical stuff from Norway and to combine it all and like bring it all to the key region, who at that time was like already starting to be deoccupied. So like it was so nice to see that your company is so highly motivated, like they're well donating like a really big amounts of money, like to help save lives, like to help the army, like to make sure the people are like alive and surviving and fighting. So yeah, I'm so grateful, and was such a motivating thing to know that you work for a company that doesn't only care about revenue but also cares like for the country they live in, that they pay taxes in. Like this felt so nice.
Yeah, and I also like this crazy Ukrainian story. So basically, you were located in Spain, and your company is Ukrainian company,
Yeah,
and your another friend who is located in Germany, where
yeah,
buying ambulances reached to you, and you find medical stuff for this car in Norway.
yeah. Like this is so crazy because like those two girls from Norway and Germany, like they are Ukrainians but currently studying and working in Norway and Germany, and we all together studied in the same group in university. So it was so nice to discover that after even like 5 years after the prom, we were still like having these contacts, and like we were all ready to like participate and like to collaborate as a team to do anything for like our country, our people's lives.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I was just shocked because our friend Maria, whose initiative was to buy this
yeah,
ambulance, she has never done it before. And you did it like in a few days.
yeah. I think it's a crazy thing that we learned all together as a nation. Like before that, like you wouldn't even imagine that you will need to like to learn how to buy ambulances or how to buy body armor, or like distinguish different types of body armor or helmets. And all of a sudden you just need to learn like all those such unusual things, like to just to like save your lives or your people loved ones lives. And like but we managed it, and I think that that's the best and craziest part, like how quickly we learned like yeah to buy ambulances, to buy like to know different kinds of medical supplies that are needed on the front line.
And also, I would like to highlight that also you managed all bureaucracy because you just can't sit in the car and go whatever you want. You should have a lot of documents. It just also your company is not transferring money just to the random person. It's also a
Yeah,
lot of documentations. All should be official. So please just give some hints on how does it look, because in a word the idea is simple, crazy and simple, but also it's time consuming. You are dealing with bureaucracy,
yeah,
with different laws. Each country has its own law, and you should know everything because you're crossing few countries.
yeah. It was actually the craziest part of this buying an ambulance process, because like for the wartime in Ukraine there have been there has been like a simplified laws for bringing in cars. And but for some reason like the legal team in my company at first the first time didn't know that there was like such a simplification. So it was so crazy because the car and like our friend and the driver were like already approaching the border between Poland and Ukraine. And my legal team is telling me that like, oh my god, like this is so difficult to make all the documents for the ambulance, like you will have to wait for 2 weeks more. And I'm like, oh my god, like they're gonna arrive to the border in a few hours, like is it possible to make all the documents like in a few hours? And so I like um, I cannot call it a scandal, but like I managed to bring up so many people, and we finally managed to deliver the documents on time. So like my friend wouldn't have to wait at the border for like 2 weeks, or like I don't know. It was so crazy and stressful. Like I remember having the worst panic attacks during those few hours where we were trying to do all the documents. But thanks God we managed to do it, and they arrived at the border with all the documents, and we managed to deliver this car like really fast. And yeah, it was so crazy. All this responsibility, like for the ambulance, for the money that the company paid for the ambulance, like for the friends who will have or not have to wait at the
Yeah,
border. Yeah,
and I just want to highlight that this ambulance is supposed to go to the hospital. Yes, it's
yeah,
the most prominent and amazing medical battalions. So it's medics who are working on the worst place of the front line,
yeah,
and they were waiting this car. So it, you also always understand that a minute of your life and the minute of prolongation is
yeah,
someone's life.
yeah. So this is so much responsibility to handle, and I think that's one of the hardest parts of this world, like assuming the responsibility for like everything you do and everything your actions may affect like to other people. And yeah, like
Yeah, and honestly, I have to say that I admire Nadia
mm,
because she were not having an easy life at all. Like her personal life was full of drama, and the year before the war was really hard for her, and I don't know, maybe it's not, you won't like to share that, but you were dealing with panic attacks for many
oh
years.
yeah, I've been dealing with panic
I
attacks
just I will
since yeah 2017. Yeah,
and I just texting with Nadia, a brilliant person who studied literature, now is having successful career in IT, and she's having severe panic attacks, but testing us. Oh, I just grab a coffee, having my severe panic attack, but I will do this in a few minutes, and I just what? And I admire, and also it gives me energy, and a lot of people here are like that and doing this stuff, and still it's amazing to still to have this opportunity to manage your panic attack and to go to the work,
yeah,
because we really appreciate that we're still alive, that our defenders are making it possible. It's also terrible always understand that you're alive because someone
yeah.
is paying by their lives.
Actually, I think that since the war began, everyone, almost everyone in Ukraine has been dealing with panic attacks, and like this is maybe not a positive thing globally, but at least I know now I'm not alone in those panic attacks. But yeah, like thanks to therapy and some antidepressants and like support of my friends and family, like I've been able like to deal with my panic attacks and like not to have my life on hold. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I just was shocked that your life is still on hold despite everything.
yeah, like despite yeah everything, I didn't want to stop like having a job like or going out with my friends or anything. So yeah, I think that to be honest, after this war, like from now, from since the war started, like everyone in Ukraine will need a therapist, like or like to have some medicine prescribed, because like this is normal. This is not normal, like to live in a war in all the stress. And like since I know I'm not that alone in the panic attacks anymore, like not alone at all, because now everyone has them. So it has been like quite easier and easier to deal with them. And I already I have like a few different stories, like how I dealt with panic attacks during this war. Like one morning I went to grab a coffee like there in Barcelona near my home, and I like went outside, and I was so shocked because in my head like I still having these flashbacks of the news and like living in this like informational world at least. And I see all the streets like really chill, and people like just taking their coffee, like uh, not hiding in the bomb shelters. And like this hit me so hard, like in the first minute, like staying outside. So I began to have like a really bad panic attack, and so I went to this coffee shop, I ordered this coffee, and I'm just staying there having like the worst panic attack. I thought I was gonna faint or like die or something. But then I look at like at my side, and I see that the owners of the coffee shop, they hanged out like a Ukrainian flag, and I was like, oh my god, like so much support. Okay, thank you. And on the other side, I just like while I was waiting for this coffee, there were a few like Spanish men taking their coffee and just talking, and they were like laughing at all those Russian oligarchs who were like trying to hide their yachts in the Spanish, like in the Barcelonian port, and like just laughing at them because like, oh my god, like how, what a miserable people, like there's, you caused a war and you're like just trying to hide all your riches, like how pathetic. And then like after feeling all this support like from random people, from this like bar owner, I like my panic attacks just stopped completely, and I was like, it's okay, like we are supported, like everyone supports us, like no more panic attacks in the
That's
day.
that's very very amazing story, and I just would like really confirm that support of people all
Yeah.
around the world helps. And thank you to our listeners who are staying with us despite the fact that we didn't turn on the microphone in the beginning.
It
and
happens.
and really thank you. It's really helpful, and very grateful that you're staying with
Oh,
Ukraine. And remember that just listening stories, sharing the stories, and talking about Ukrainian war, it's very important. And like it's more than a month since the defenders of Azovstal in
mhm.
Mariupol were captivated and kept in Russia. And it will be huge help if you can also share their stories and keep talking about them,
Yeah.
because because I just can't imagine what Russians might be doing with them.
Oh my god, yeah, like I remember like after we just the night after we won the Eurovision, like I think that everyone remembers that our like the Kalush vocalist said like help Mariupol, help save Azovstal. And the next day I was just taking a walk in Barcelona and drinking my coffee, and I sat on a bench near the beach, and there was a couple near me, like on the same bench, talking about Mariupol. Like in Barcelona, people talking about Mariupol, and I felt so proud that, like the a few words that Kalush said, like they
Rich
made,
people.
yeah, like they made a difference. Like they got people to speak in every, I don't know, city on the planet about Mariupol, about Azovstal. So just like bringing up this theme like every day, it really helps, like raise this
Exactly.
awareness. Yeah.
It really helps, and it's important to keep talking about Azovstal and Mariupol because it's a month, and these people should get back home, and it's work
Alive.
because
Yeah.
yesterday was released from Russia Ukrainian combat medic, a woman. Her name is Taira, and Russians kept her 3 months captivated. And yes, talking about that, supporting, protesting, and reaching officials that help, because
Yeah.
we see that Ukrainians medics, like, she was saving people from the most terrible places, and she was saving not only military but ordinary people and
Yeah, like
kids.
yeah, like civilians. Yeah, like this is really heroical what she has been doing, and she doesn't deserve to like to be kept in captivity. Like no one deserves, but a person who helps to save lives, like this is, I think that's holy people. Like they should be protected by all means, and not stay in captivity, like Russian captivity. Like we have been like hearing a lot about like what happens in there, like this is the worst. So we are so happy to have Tyra back, and I'm already like craving to like to hear her story, like to learn, to read maybe an interview, like just to see a video. Like I, not only me but everyone now wants to see how to check up on Tyra, like how is she, what stories she has to tell.
Yeah, so the next step is keep reminding and remembering Azovstal defenders
Yeah.
and waiting and helping get them back home. And 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 that really was nice to have this news during the week. Also, I also experienced pretty nice experience this
Yeah.
week because I saw my brother.
Oh yeah, you told me today. Like
Yeah.
you saw him yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, you tell this crazy story on the
Yeah.
railway station. Like it's the best, I think.
Yeah. But also, I would like to say thank you to you and your family because your family donated a lot, and we were able to buy body armor for my
Mhm.
brother and guys who are also serving with him. And yeah, I just saw my brother. The reason why he was in Kiev is pretty sad. He came in Kiev to be present on the funeral.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so one guy from their battalion was killed by Russians, and that's why they were going here. But it was funny that it was the day when Mr. Macron and Mr. Scholz came to Ukraine, and my brother like, yeah, I'm just staying on Kiev railway station, eating my cake. Like
It was
I'm.
his birthday cake. Yeah.
His birthday is
Yeah.
today, by the way.
But you celebrated it yesterday, and you ate the cake at the
No,
central station.
I don't know. I have no idea why he was eating a cake on the central railway station. But look at me. I were eating cakes on my each exam, and it also was pretty strange for people. So I just if cake eater family. So he was staying on the central railway station, eating his cake, and then he saw Macron and Scholz, and they were looking at him and had no eye, just and staring,
Mhm.
probably because he was eating a cake.
Like why this soldier is standing on a station eating a cake in the middle of a war? Like, yeah, I think this must have felt surreal for them. Like, yeah.
but it's a very nice hint at what war-life balance looks like. It looks like you're eating a cake in the
In the middle of the craziest war ever seen of this century, yeah.
because why not to eat a cake if you have a cake?
And if you're still alive, like this is what war-life balance right now is like celebrating life in the middle of like the worst things happening, but you still appreciate that you're alive, and you try to do everything you can, like just
And you're not
work.
giving up.
Yeah, like or just work, or maybe just like stay calm and not cause panic. Like this is already so much. Like just yeah, staying calm, keeping you alive, keeping like your family protected, and sometimes eat a cake and like celebrate that you're alive, like you're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
work-life balance is that life is terrible, but you are a badass too. and
Yeah, like
that was a funny story these days.
yeah, it's just like the little things that keep us happy and alive.
Yeah.
It's just about appreciating all those things, like
Yeah.
your friends, a cake and a central station.
Yeah, just step by step, and it doesn't matter that sometimes you're having very bad days because still someone is having probably it's terrible to
The world and
compare
worse, yeah.
but just I keep thinking what our soldiers are experiencing, so that gave me strength because someone has to cover their backs.
Yeah, and this like normal people like us, maybe I always remember like do you remember at the beginning of the war, like ours, like it's really a Ukrainian singer, so Svetlana Loboda, but she's now like she has been pro-Russian for the last 5 years at least. But then when the war began, she went live on Instagram and she was crying and telling like, oh my god, I can do nothing, I'm just a little person, like someone please stop this war, like this is so crazy. But just crying because she was feeling helpless. But how can you feel helpless when you have like over 1 million of people following you, like w- like when looking for like us, like normal people with maybe 50 followers on Instagram, and like when you see how much you can do, like how much money you can collect, like body armor for your friend, for example, with 50 followers, like how can you feel helpless when you have like such a big audience? And I think that's also like a great thing that we have achieved as a nation, like that we feel that we can make such a big difference, like even with the lowest resources. Like we managed, I remember when I was going from Spain to Ukraine by bus, like 24 hours in the bus. During those 24 hours, we managed to collect over $1,000 for an optical site for our friend like Sergey, the something.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah. Like we
gosh.
managed it in so little time, and it was just me, my boyfriend, and our friend collect like each has like 100, 200 followers maximum on Instagram, and like with under like 600 followers in total, we managed to collect over $1,000 like for our friends like the optical site, so he can make more good Russians. I don't know, like when you see that, like you really can make such a big difference like with almost no followers. Like everything depends on you and your efforts, and like even a little effort like maybe posting a story on Instagram or like something on writing on Facebook, it may like help raise so much energy and now time, money,
Yeah.
so that you can protect your friends, your loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Being an ordinary person
yeah,
doesn't mean that you can't do nothing. And just that's why I like talking with ordinary Ukrainians, because all of them are change makers. And I believe that every person that stayed with us for 55 minutes, it's also a
yay.
change maker. I'm really grateful to everyone who just stayed with us today. If you like our talks, you may share with your friends and come to another talks that will be next week. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, especially to Marty. Marty is my follower on Twitter,
Mhm.
and he did amazing job because he reached officials, and he donated to organizations he trusts, and he
Mhm.
donated me a few dollars. And Marty, thank you so much for this donation. we
Yay.
bought we bought 10 walkie-talkies for
Oh my
this
god, like
money.
this is so much. Yeah.
Yeah, Marty, yeah, I appreciate your help. And other people also were donating for this. So we
Mhm.
bought 10 walkie-talkies, and they are on the way from
Mhm.
Poland to Ukraine. And I will post on. So usually we're posting the report when the stuff we bought are already with
On the
our
front line,
soldiers,
yeah.
and they're sending our pictures. So we're posting this picture and invoice. So I will post that soon. So thank you, Marty, and thank everyone for staying with Ukraine. And please post and talk about Azovstal, and believe that despite being ordinary, you can be a huge change maker.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening, and like uh, I would be happy if you like maybe yeah share some stories, some text, or donate something to the volunteering organizations or like to Maria's organization, because like we are right now fundraising for you said a car, yeah.
Yes, I saw
Yeah,
my brother yesterday, and he
yeah,
told that they have everything they need except a car. It just
yeah,
usually it's a nice practice for buying used
yeah,
tracks.
cheap cars, yeah, so they can like
Evacuate.
evacuate, yeah,
Yeah.
the wounded ones. So please, we encourage you like to participate in helping saving Ukrainian lives, and like just to stop this craziest war ever, like bring back peace to Ukraine, to the whole planet, because as we have already seen, so many like countries, especially in Africa, depend on
Yeah.
Ukraine like just for food, and with the war going on, we are not able to feed like all the people we need.
Yeah, it's very stupid and heartless to say that, but it's cheaper to end this right now.
Yeah,
It's strange but yeah, you just remind how much people depend on that,
yeah,
and that world will be better. We're just I keep dreaming that one day I may stop like tweeting, sharing, volunteering, and just do the one thing, maybe finish my PhD thesis about short stories,
hmm,
and not having 3 or 4 jobs. By the way, I got new
yeah,
jobs this week.
yay for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like this meme, like when you are Ukrainian, you just work on anything you can so that you can donate more money to the
exactly.
organizations there. And I have this little dream of deleting the air raid siren app after the war stops, because it is so annoying to hear all this like siren during the night. Or like this morning it started like 4 a.m.,
Yeah,
4:30 a.m.,
yeah,
and we already have been having like three air sirens today. So like we just need to stop all this atrocity
yeah,
happening.
yeah. Yeah, it would be just so nice to work on education because I used to
Yeah.
work in educational sphere. I want to get back to my boring problems.
Yeah. Like we were already stressed with our mundane problems before the war. Like
Yeah.
even then, it was quite difficult. But now, when you have a war, like top of everything, like it's just so crazy how we are still able to manage like our lives, to manage this war, like to be able not only to do our job and like staying like good friends or parents or like husbands, wives, but also to like to help to the military or help the refugees. It's so amazing what we can do actually in this war if we organize well. And I think that's another trait that Ukrainians have, like a really good trait we have, that we are able to organize ourselves even in the craziest, like in the middle of the craziest things ever, like
Yeah.
those atrocities.
And it feels for me like you're just doing that, putting no effort towards that, because probably by each cell of your body you believe that it will have a huge impact. I remember just my problems before the work. Maybe I'm not interesting person enough, or maybe I just not smart enough to finish my PhD thesis because it's not it's I felt like it's not a scientific breakthrough, and how to be a little bit more confident. And
Yeah,
then the war started.
yeah,
I
and
just I have to be alive, and I don't care about anything else. Like be ashamed or how you look without makeup. Like I haven't slept
yeah,
for 5 days.
yeah,
I have menstruation, diarrhea. I didn't wash my hair. It's middle of the night, but I am doing live with Canadian TV with no makeup, just to ask
yeah, just to
more
spread the
weapon.
informations. Yeah, and yeah, this is also like quite nice and crazy. Like yeah, as I said, like about all the organization and like yeah, how much change you can make in
Yeah.
all of this. And like um, yeah, as you said, like before you maybe felt unconfident or like not nice just because you haven't washed your hair, and on the next day you are like buying 5 ambulances as our friend Maria, or like buying one ambulance as we managed to, or like buying dozens of body armors or drones, like to help the army. And then you see that you are capable of so much, and like you're bigger than your like mundane simple problems. Like you can do anything if you want.
Yeah.
Like set the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and my husband is listening us. Hi, Roman. Thank you, thank you so much as well for buying another ambulance, because Roman's finding money for another ambulance for Maria. So thank you,
Oh my
Roman,
God.
for doing that, supporting army, and for listening each my Twitter space. And I promise I won't, I won't leave stuff in our apartment in crazy place. Thank you so much for being a very nice husband.
Yeah.
So let's stay live till the next episode, and thank you one more time for being with us all this time.
Yeah, thank you everyone. And I think later we will post this cake I brought on. Like I found a cake that's called the World-Life Balance, such as this podcast. So maybe we'll tell this funny speak to inaugurate this podcast.
Yeah, Nadia is amazing. I just started doing this Twitter podcast, and honestly, I do not have a lot of time to prepare technical side or brilliant questions or something like that.
Or turn on the record button.
Yeah, today
happens.
on the beginning I didn't turn on the microphone. Okay, and I just thought, gosh, why I'm doing that? Maybe that's a stupid idea. Then Nadia bring a cake. Like I have my podcast is having a cake, so yeah, I will do it for a year more. So thank you for being my motivation to do
You're
that.
welcome, and thank you so much also for organizing all this stuff, because Maria has been organizing so much help and like managing so many processes of like helping the army, like helping different military units. And this is so amazing to see that your friend that you have been knowing like for over 10 years, and know you knew her like as such a nice and shy and like the best person ever, like a really delicate woman. But then you see that she's like, oh my God, like let's buy 100 life-saving vests or helmets or a few drones or like an ambulance or a car, and then you're like, oh my God, like you're so powerful. And this is so nice to see that not only like a governmental organization can make a big difference, but like just women like us, like under 30 years, can like move the world, like supply the army. It's so crazy and so empowering to see such women.
Yeah, it's nice that we're doing audio podcast because people can see that we're skinny, small, and just extra cute, and
Yeah.
you won't.
I
You
think it would be so funny later to upgrade this to maybe a YouTube vlog or something, so that people can like see the actual real people. But maybe because maybe they are now imagining us as some superheroes in the armor, like sitting there and managing 100 drones. But then you see a girl in a skirt and a girl in some jeans and with a messy bun, and then you're like, oh my god! Like if those people can do it, maybe we also can do it. Like it's not that difficult. Like we can do anything, like even in a war-torn country, even when we don't have so many funds, but only with a few good friends and contacts, and like the power of the will, we can like do so much for our army, or like for the refugees in our country. Like yeah, we're like almost invincible, I think, as Ukraine.
So, God bless all people who are staying with Ukraine, and thanks one more time to our defenders because it's possible to talk here only because of their work and because of millions of people who are donating, working, buying, supporting. You know, I really like this initiative. Oh my gosh, that's just terrible. We're saying bye for the 15 minutes. we're just kidding from the people. I adore this initiative which called Stay with Ukraine.
Be brave as Ukraine.
Stay with Ukraine, spend with Ukraine.
Mhm.
Because actually, there is a lot of international companies or Ukrainian companies which are producing great services. And if you're just buying goods like clothes, software, for example, I bought Grammarly, and they're extremely amazing software. If you're editor or just you're writing a lot of emails, a lot of Ukrainians clothes brands, just buying Ukrainian stuff, you're just supporting our economy, you know.
Yeah, actually we have been using like Grammarly so much as well in our SEO work. So yeah, it's so nice to have such a big company worldwide that's so famous, and like it's Ukrainian, it's ours. Like
Ajax is Ukrainian company.
Yeah.
And Reface.
Oh.
Reface is Ukrainian company.
Funny.
Yeah. Actually, as my husband is working in IT, I know a lot of IT and business stuff.
Yeah.
And like in the last year, we had a lot of Ukrainian unicorn startups but maybe maybe my husband also will join me to discuss all that IT life, and we will talk about that as well. And I think it's an hour and 7 minutes. So thank you.
Maybe we should just wrap up because people will be asleep after our like.
But it's true. Saying goodbye in Ukraine is at least 20 minutes because you have to hug to wish a lot of nice things.
Drink warm coffee because before going out. This is such a Ukrainian trait, like to be saying goodbye for a few hours after.
Exactly, and we're doing the same. So we're just breaking rule of Twitter space community, but.
Yeah, thank you everyone again for listening to us and our stories, and please feel free to donate to organizations you trust, or like to just Maria's foundation. And
as far as I can see, we have no questions.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Bye. And how to stop and yes, no, and yes and oh, we have to end it